The NBA schedule is out. Here's what I'm most looking forward to, starting with the rematch I most want to watch. Nuggets, Thunder, this new look Nuggets team after getting rid of Michael Porter Jr. You got Cam Johnson, Bruce Brown, Jonas Valanciunas, Day'Ron Holmes is back. When do they face the Thunder? February 1st. So we got to wait a while for it until February 1st. But this does mean we get 4 Nuggets Thunder games in the last 3 months of the season. February 1st, Nuggets host the Thunder, then at OKC on February 27th, at OKC on March 9th, and then at Denver on April 10th. So those could be big games for the standings, and at the least it's going to be some playoff previews down the stretch. I just can't wait to see how this Denver team looks reloaded against OKC. And OKC, like, they didn't make any major changes besides paying anybody, but did their young guys get better in the same way that we think on paper Denver's roster got better with their external additions? So that's the game I'm most looking forward to from the season, aside from what we already learned with Christmas opening night and games like that. But I think it's also worth noting that that February 1st game between the Nuggets and the Thunder, that's part of a launch night for NBC with Sunday night basketball, because we also get the Lakers and Knicks on that same night, which is going to be an awesome game. LeBron at MSG, assuming there's like no trade demands by that point, but Lakers at Knicks, and then you also get Nuggets Thunder. I think that's going to be awesome. And that's one of the key things with the schedule release that we've learned a lot about is we're getting something like NBC's Sunday Night Basketball. Prime Video with Amazon is going to have their select Saturdays. So on Saturday afternoons, the NBA is having, I believe, more afternoon games than ever before, which means more primetime starts overseas. So they clearly are organizing this to have like an international flavor. On March 28th, we get Wemby versus Giannis. On April 4th, we get Wemby versus Jokic. And those are like early afternoon games on the East Coast, primetime games in Europe. So I think for the NBA, like, I feel like as I look at the schedule, there's a lot of events. Obviously, it's a lot of games. It's 82 games. That is unchanged. We still get the NBA Cup. We still get the play-in tournament. It's a lot of games. But I feel like they've kind of made events around it. And that's what feels different with the schedule this year that has me really excited. And I think for fans, especially for casual fans, like if you're watching this video, I don't think you're going to have any issues ever finding a game to watch. But for casual fans, it seems like the NBA's creating some stuff to make it easier to find games, because they're having this new feature that's going to direct fans to live NBA games using different like social media and digital platforms. So I think like on League Pass or NBA.com or like different apps, different partners, from what I understand is the NBA is going to try to provide a simple path for fans to just find live games. So maybe you'll be able to click and it'll take you to a certain app to watch a game live or something along those lines. But with games, with these new networks, it's going to be harder for maybe a casual fan to find games, or maybe it's easier with all these different paths. But it seems like generally this is the way it's going to be with games. On Mondays, they're going to be on Peacock. On Tuesday, on NBC. On Wednesday, they'll be on ESPN. On Thursday, on Prime Video. On Friday, on Prime Video and ESPN. On Saturday, on Prime Video in the afternoon, and then ABC at night. And then on Sunday, we'll have ABC games in the afternoon and then NBC games at night. So I think with this app, or whatever way they're trying to work it out on digital, they said they'll announce that later in the season with the specifics of how it's going to work. Should be easier for casual fans, not harder, I hope. But either way, like, I'm very excited to see these games on NBC and Amazon, because I really love the people that they've hired for those gigs. I think it's going to be great. Other games that I'm looking forward to, I want to go to the end of the season. Final day of the regular season in the Western Conference. We know the West is going to be a gauntlet. We get the Warriors against the Clippers. We get the Nuggets against the Spurs. We get the Grizzlies against the Rockets. Like, those 3 games are, at least on paper, right now in the middle of August, by far the best games of the day. So final day of the regular season, I think those are the matchups, even more so than like putting aside lottery stuff. There's not a lot of games that like I think are between 2 serious lottery teams unless there's injuries that happen. But those are the playoff implication games in all likelihood. And then in the East, we have the Bucks and the Sixers. Hopefully Joel Embiid and the Sixers make it to the finish line, and hopefully that game has a lot of big implications. On March 3rd, this is one of my favorite days that I saw of the whole schedule. we get some rookie games. Start of March Madness on the college basketball side, but in the NBA, we get Cooper Flag and the Mavs against Con Knipple and the Hornets. And then the same night, we have Dylan Harper and the Spurs against VJ Edgecombe and the Sixers. So we see the top 4 picks all face off against each other on the same night. I think that's going to be really cool. And in terms of rookie games, one of the guys that I was most intrigued to see in the Vegas Summer League was Yang Hansen. And so I'm curious to see him in the regular season. And I particularly want to see what it looks like for Portland with the fact they have Yang. They drafted Donovan Clingan last year. They still have Robert Williams, the third Time Lord on the roster. So what does this Blazers team look like with all these bigs? Well, on opening night for the Blazers, they're facing the Timberwolves. No better team for them to go against with Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle and Naz Reid and all the bigs on Minnesota. So I'm really excited to see Yang go against this Minnesota team, like the toughest possible test for them on opening night as really young guys. But ultimately, I just can't wait to see the way this young Blazers team plays. To me, I think it's one of the stories of the season. They had one of the best defenses in basketball in the second half of the year. How does this team make strides moving forward? Does Scoot Henderson take a leap? Shaedon Sharpe, all these young guys. Does Denny Avdia carry over what he did in the second half of last year? Portland is going to be one of the teams that I'm watching very, very closely this season. The returns, we know KD opening night, Houston against Oklahoma City. Going to watch him raise the banner. He's already talking trash about that, as I talked about with Slightly Biased on my podcast earlier in the week. But the Myles Turner going back to Indiana, that one I'm really looking forward to on November 3rd as well. I think that's going to be a really fun game after he surprised everybody and left the Milwaukee Bucks. That's going to be a fun one. It's not a return as much as like hopefully a renewal of the rivalry. Trae Young and the Hawks going to Madison Square Garden on January 2nd against the Knicks. That's going to be a fun one. I hope I get to attend that game. That'd be a really, really fun game to do. Maybe I'll do New Year's Eve in New York. I've never done that. It's probably too crazy. I don't know. But maybe I'll do New Year's Eve in New York and stay through for that January 2nd game because that would be really a fun one to go to. Rivalries. I hope to God. We already know Chet Holmgren, OKC, they're playing on December 25th against Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs. We already know that. So clearly the NBA is making an investment in obviously Wemby, but also in this rivalry between Chet and Wemby. And also just in the terms of what the Spurs could be against OKC as a nemesis against the defending champions. But they're also playing a home and home. That's what this is. December 23rd, we're going to have OKC at San Antonio. And then on the 25th, it's San Antonio at OKC. So they play 2 games in 3 days. That's going to be fun. And then they play again on the 13th of January and of the 4th of February as well. That's my dad's birthday. So yeah, I think 4 games over the course of 3 months, that'll be fun, but especially that 2 games in 3 nights thing. And speaking about 2 games in 3 nights, this season, the NBA is always trying to cut down on back-to-backs. They announced there's only going to be 14.4 back-to-backs on average per team compared to 14.9 last season. And they took extra precautions to make sure they're not playing back-to-backs leading into national TV games and whatnot. And they did say that no team has over 16 back-to-backs this season, which is consistent with last season. So hopefully that's a good thing. Overall, I'm really, really excited about the schedule. I think there's a lot of like fun quirks this year with the new league partners. It just feels like it's events, Sunday night basketball. Like that just has a good ring to it. Like knowing on Saturday afternoons in the second half of the year, you're going to be able to put on Prime and watch a game at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. on a Saturday. I just think there's like a lot of good games like that where I think most years with the schedule, personally, I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Right. Yeah, cool. But this year it just feels a little different. Maybe it's just because of the new league partners, and I'm just excited about seeing NBC and Peacock and Amazon Prime and all that. But I don't know. I feel like there's this other thing that they announced too, where it's like Coast to Coast Tuesdays on NBC with Peacock, and it's like they're having 2 games every Tuesday all season long. Like they have like an 11 p.m. Eastern start time game the first week of the season. I know that annoyed a lot of people, but I don't know. People also stay up late on the West Coast. Not every game needs to be at an accessible time. I just think having games on at different types of times, because it's also a morning game overseas too. Wake up early in the morning, you can watch that. So I don't know. There's just all these little things that the NBA has this year that I don't know. I'm really excited about it. And I think this is going to be an awesome season, especially the Western Conference is just going to be, oh my God, like these games are going to be all intense. It's going to feel like every game has intense implications out West. In the East, I mean, I think there's a reason why Christmas and opening week and opening night aren't being represented too much by the Eastern Conference, but who knows? We'll see. Maybe we'll be absolutely surprised. Maybe, Celtics Magic on final day of the regular season will have implications if Tatum returns or Jaylen Brown has a first team All NBA season. Who knows? There's so much that we can't predict, but ultimately, I'm fired up for the season. Let me know in the comments what you guys are most excited about this season, the one game or the series of games, whatever it is. Let me know in the comments as well, whether you're watching or listening on Spotify or YouTube. Please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching this video. Have a good rest of your day.